Okay, part 3 and the last part probably for the 3D printer. I'm really surprised there's not that many views, therefore I'm assuming there's not that much interest in a 3D printer. And I can probably see why. Everybody's way ahead of me. It's probably everybody's gotten into it years ago, but I'm just scratching the surface of it. I'm having a blast here. Making a bunch of different things for it. There's also software I'm seeing out there where you can take pictures of a 3D object and throw it at this software and it'll reproduce and model it for you, which is cool. But I've got the A6, and the A6 was, what, $210, bang good. The A8 is $149, $150. The only difference is mine uses a knob to select menu items that are on the screen on the printer. The A8 uses buttons, but you'll see here in the software it doesn't matter because you're going to use software to talk to it anyway. So first thing, I just want to share a couple of pictures from some subscribers. And then what did I do here? I'll get into the software and then I'll actually show just some of the things that I've done to the printer to try to improve print quality. And I'm getting really good results now. So hope you guys enjoy. Pick up a 3D printer. Just want to share a couple of pictures and some things here. This is not big, but first, never be afraid to email me when you need help or whatever. I've got people that send videos to me, which is great. I get a lot of emails, which you can see here. I mean, it's fun going back and forth and helping people and stuff. But this is one video. I'm working with this guy right now. He bought the Delta because of my video on it, and yeah, there's noise, but you know, he shot a video showing it and I can see the wheels wobbling and things like that. A lot of times I can steer people to other people who can help because I know quite a few, not to brag, but for this, you know, he wants to do woodworking, and I forgot to tell him, you know, you should look up this guy, Jimmy Porter at Stewart Arts, because he does woodworking, and I'm pretty sure he bought a Delta also because of my video review on it. So look him up, and I don't know if he's got a video right offhand. Well, I'm not going to spend the time to search, but get a hold of him and see what he has to say. But we're going back and forth right now over this Delta noise issue. Some of the other stuff is really hilarious. This is Rob Gordon's picture. When I first did the review on the CNC, I thought this was hilarious. He obviously has kids, place butt here. So we went back and forth, and he actually sent, where is it, a link here, to upgrading your CNC, and I think this is rather out of control. But it's a kick. This is actually a different unit here. Yeah, see, it's got, no, it doesn't. Mine has that support. Let me look. Yeah, mine has the same support. But upgrading this so it can do aluminum, I don't think so. There's just not enough rigidity. I tried everything under the sun. I had people actually leave comments, you know, have you tried it on aluminum? It's like, well, you can engrave it, aluminum and steel, but no way. I've even tried taking 1,000th cut and you just cannot do it. So I thought that was funny. And then this is another guy, Calvin, and a lot of times I like seeing the pictures, but he emailed me worried about flexing of the column. This guy's in South Africa, and he sent this picture in, and I'm going, holy moly. That definitely gets rid of flex, and you can adjust the tilt too by doing this. But I do like seeing the entire picture for different reasons. I'm looking at this, seeing this swivel base on the vise, and everybody that's had the swivel has had finish issues. You just can't do it. You get rid of it. I even got rid of it on mine. I bought the vise with the swivel base, saw a mess, got rid of the base, and lo and behold, I guess I can turn this picture. Lo and behold, the finish is completely changed. So I love it. Keep sending in pictures, comments, questions, and I'm all too happy to do a private video on my shop or on whatever your question is. And by private, I mean it's unlisted. It's uploaded to YouTube. It's unlisted. The only way you can see it is if I email you a link to it. Alright, space heaters by my feet. Got my cup of joe, so I'm ready to go. To run the 3D printer, it's kind of the same thing as the 3-axis CNC that I showed. You need a CAD program to do your modeling, and then you need for the 3D printer, you need a program called a slicer, which slices up your model into layers and generates the G-code for it. And then you need a program that communicates with the 3D printer itself. Now I did use FreeCAD still to create a simple little tray. And what you do is, after you've done with it, you do file export what's called an STL file. And it's a kick too, I can bring it up. There are libraries out there of STL files that you can download for free. Some you pay for. It's called Thingiverse. Thin, there it is, Thingiverse. I wish they had this for the 3-axis CNC. This site's always slow to load for some reason. Someday. But they've got tons of files that you can download if you want to make a Mars rover, a rocket, a steam engine. I mean, you name it. It's just crazy. When's this going to load? Well, I guess I'll abandon it for now. Okay, so where was I? So I used FreeCAD to make a tray, and then I have this program which talks to it. But first, the 3D printer did come with an adapter that you plug into any standard USB port. And I looked at it, and lo and behold, it had a micro SD card in it. So that I was like happy. That saved me a few dollars. I didn't have to go out and get the card. And I was thinking that you're going to wind up putting files on the card and then pulling it out of the computer, sticking it in the printer, and then printing from that. But looked at the card that was in there, and it had, this is the full, this is what was on it. I've added some stuff in here. So they did have a folder which is all the installation instructions. So I really didn't have to download the PDF to put the thing together. It had a folder with a bunch of STL files that you can load up and print just as a test, as a chess piece in a simple box and things like that. It also came with software, which was the Cura program. Turns out the program that communicates with the machine, that runs the motors, also contains the slicer, so it's all in one. It came with the driver, so I had run the driver. It comes for Mac and Windows. I ran the driver so it knew how to talk to it when it got plugged into the USB port, what the device was. Came with a folder of test G-code. I haven't played with it. It's all PLA stuff, but so I'm not sure what that was. Just never got into it. And then it came with some pictures and other stuff to it. But I figured, all right, so I've got FreeCAD, yay, and I'm sure you can use Autodesk Fusion 360 to model your part. But I went into their installation instructions and opened up the PDF. And yeah, it's all kinds of nice pictures, but where's the part here? Software. So I was looking for something. Did I click on the wrong file? Yep, sure did. Alright, so operation. Yep, this is it, I think. Yeah. Okay, so I come down here and it gets to the part where it starts saying software, Cura 14.07. But they show, you can go to the website, ultimaker.com, blah, 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 and they list all the different releases, different versions. And they say they want you to download and install version 14.07. And I'm looking at this going, they go up to version 15.04.6 or whatever. Why am I downloading, or why do they want me to install an older version? Whatever. That version was on the card, so I did install it. And then they tell you, pretty good detail, how to, what to click on during the install, what to select, choose custom as far as the printer and the numbers to enter in for the A6, and so on. So, okay, I install the thing and I run it, and I'm looking at it, and I don't see a lot of controls to it, but whatever. So I'm looking on YouTube at other videos of it, and they're running this Ultimaker, and they have all the controls in there. I'm seeing settings where you can set up quality and speeds and temperatures and so on. And they also have the controls to talk directly to the printer, where you can home the motors and move them around and so on. And I'm looking at the 14 that they said to install, and everything's missing. So on YouTube, I'm looking in the corner, froze one of the videos, and they're running this Ultimaker Cura 3.6.0. Go out on the internet, and lo and behold, there's two Ultimaker sites. I can't remember whether two sites or Cura sites or something. And then here's the other one. So I uninstall the 14 and install this one. And let me plug in the printer here so that it's ready to go. All right, loading interface. Boom. Okay. And you can hear the printer starting up here. I don't know why. It used to go faster, but when you go to monitor, you can see it says printer not connected. I know you can't read this. It loses it in the conversion between 1080p and uploading it to YouTube when they convert it. But here it is, and now I've got all of the settings here, and here's quality, layer heights, and walls, and what material you're using, PLA, all the temperatures that you want. So everything's in here. I'm not going to go through any of the numbers because I'm still figuring things out myself. But here's the whole caboodle. Is it connected up yet? No, it will sooner or later. There it goes. But all you do is you say open, and you'll find your STL file. And this was one that I had downloaded from that Thingiverse. Hold down the mouse wheel and you can move things around. Roll the mouse wheel and you can zoom in on it. You can select your model, and you've got all kinds of controls over here to flip it, invert it, resize it, bigger, smaller, whatever you want to do. The best thing I like about this is if you hover over one particular item, a pop-up really describes in detail what this item is. Layer height, it's the height of the layer in millimeters, blah, blah, blah. So everything is well, as how I describe it, great help menus, great assists. So all the settings are here, which is great. You can easily import any STL file that you make in FreeCAD, Fusion 360, or you download preferences, I did have to go and add the printer. Now, the printer A6 did not exist, so I added it as a 3D Maker starter number, or it wasn't number 2. This was left over from messing around. And then I went into the settings for this guy and modified it. And again, I'm not going to go into all of these numbers unless somebody emails me specifically. I did do a lot of research on the internet to figure out specifically what should be in here for the A6. So starting G code, ending G code, everything that should be in there. And even though I renamed it as an A6, you can still see here it says the 3D Maker Starter, but small bug, whatever. But you can go over to monitor, and there it is. I've got full control over the motors and distances. So I can move up, down, left, right. I can hit the center and home the XY axis. Hit center, home the Z axis. So once your model is here, all you do is hit prepare, and I'll click on it, and you can see the slicing is taking effect. So it's slicing this whole thing up into layers, generating all the G code. And from the pull down here, I can say print either to a file or directly via USB to the printer. So I'll show here in a second this particular item being printed using this program. Very easy to use once you get the right one. Doesn't say up here which one it is, but I'm running Ultimaker Cura 3.6.0. I just want to point out a few things that I did here to improve print quality, and it looks like it significantly did. First thing was I was watching a video saying that you got to do maintenance down in here, and George Chambers was nice enough to send me a link to Thingiverse because he saw the pain I went through removing this fan and so on, to this thing that you can download to print a magnetic removable. It makes it easier for maintenance. But in any case, I did take it apart, and sure enough, there was a lot of junk already in there, especially on the little gear that had to, that advances the fiber. Let me pull more fiber out here. There. But in the picture too, I saw this little knob thingy that was printed out, 3D printed. And I didn't want to play around with 3D printing the knob and threads and so on, so I just made it out of aluminum real quick. Didn't come out exactly the way I'd like it to look, but it works nicely, so for now that's good enough. So yeah, and in the process, while I had it apart, I realized the bottom block that the stepper mounts on was tilted this way. So the motor was jamming into the wires down here, so I had to loosen up the nut for the extruder and straighten all that out, and so everything's back together and nice and straight. Looks like it's working just fine. This thing's starting to crank through some fiber in here, filament. So that was one thing that I just kind of did, some maintenance, and made the knob. The next up was I got tired of these things wobbling, figuring this is moving stuff around too much. So I had taken the lead screw out, turned the end down, made a bushing, heated the bushing up so it's pushed on there now, and it's a permanent part. But what I discovered is the motor shaft is significantly smaller in diameter than the lead screw. So as a result, there's a shelf in there. And I didn't know it, but I had the motor shaft pushed in further, so the lead screw wasn't going in as far as it could go. So you can see this giant gap that I have here now. Because what I did here was I put the lead screw in with the bushing first all the way down, locked it, and then when I dropped it onto the motor, I was shocked that it didn't go in that far. So heads up on that, put the lead screw in first so it bottoms out. That way there's more of the lead screw to keep it from wobbling. Then put it on the motor. I haven't done that one yet, and it doesn't look like it's wobbling now because I pushed it all the way in first. So I don't know whether I want to go through the trouble of making a bushing for that one just so it matches, because I'm anal that way. But so I got rid of the wobble in it, and I had made these, I said before, to keep the top from moving around. So it looks really good. The next thing is another video was talking about harmonics and vibrations and stuff. And I was shocked, but I could tighten up every single screw on this machine. I know plastic is a liquid, and over time it will move. So I tightened up all the screws on this, and the machine does seem like it's a lot more rigid, solid, whatever you want to call it. The next thing was I didn't like the existing springs that were on it. They were just so tight, and it was hard to move the wing nuts to level this thing out. So I had replaced it with my own springs, but they were far too loose. So I was thinking, let me lower the limit switch for the Z-axis so the head goes down further and I could compress the springs more. Turns out these little screws that they give you here, put it on the table, barely go through the limit switch, and I didn't realize it, but the switch could move, and so it would home at different positions. So I wound up taking the screws out, and I think I have a 556 socket head in there now, and that threaded nicely into the plastic. I only have one, and it allowed me to tilt the limit switch down slightly. You know, you can't see it, but that brought the head down further so I could compress these springs more. Now I kind of am happy with the way it is, and eventually I'll probably get the automatic leveling sensor in place when I figure that one out. So bed springs helped me level it easier. Lowering the limit switch did a job. And the last thing was I discovered this head tilts here. And it's because these rods are undersized. They're not 8 millimeters. They were 7 point something. I forgot what the number is, millimeters in diameter. And it turns out that's some 26 thousandths undersized. So I don't know what to do to correct that. Right now I'm seeing a pretty good, a lot better finish on it than I have before. So I'm hoping it's just kind of repeatable. Because if the motor goes that way, yeah, it tilts that way. If the motor goes that way, it tilts that way. I'll pull more fiber out here. Oh, it doesn't wind up fighting. There. So this is just a test run now, and it's looking a lot better with whatever I did. The other thing was a video showed how to tighten the belts, and the guy could just twang. Like, really? That tight? So I did the best I could to really tighten them up more, and for this print I've enabled what do you call it, anti-jerk or whatever. So you can see as it moves, it pauses before it does anything to let stuff settle down. I don't know if my tightening the belts more did anything. I'll probably try to do something here to, ooh, yeah, it's starting to do the other piece. It's amazing how I can do this in thin air. Wow, it's not doing too good of a job right now. So I don't know, Yeah, it just started doing one. I don't know. I've seen it do this before, and it winds up doing a nice job there. It's starting to do the thread. Something sticking to it? No. So that's just a heads up. I am running the nozzle at 200 centigrade and the bed's at 30 centigrade just to kind of warm it up because it's cold in the shop. But those items that I did seem to have made a difference on the printing quality.